Ask yourself the damn question. Is winning the only thing to you?
Sports today are not just played on the field. They're played every day, online, all over the world, by sports fans just like you.
Don't you dare breathe. That won't get you anywhere. If you don't think you're a winner, you don't belong here.
The Star Fantasy League Show puts you in control of your own team. Find out who to sit, who to start, how to play, and have your daily fantasy sports questions answered with your host, Jonathan Sprung, and co-host SFL CEO Zach Stanley and Nick Steblenko. The Star Fantasy League Show is on the air now.
Hello and welcome to the Star Fantasy League Show here on 105.5 The Team. I am Jonathan Sprung, your host and pilot for this lovely Star Fantasy League show, joined, as always, by Teddy Bear 2, Nick Steblenko.
How's it going, Jonald?
It's going great. We got some decent weather in Rochester to talk about for once.
It's a wonderful day here in Rochester. Yes, it is.
Yes,
the weather has turned for the better, and we are heading straight into summer.
Hooray! And I have to, I always say, as always, Zach Stanley, but you haven't been here for the past couple of days, so welcome back to SFL CEO Deucey Moose, Zach Stanley.
Well, sometimes I have other things to do, and I don't get the pleasure of being with the both of you.
I know. We brought in our radio closer, Jason Grinshaw. He filled in quite nicely, but it's time to get back starters minutes.
He's a bit of a low talker.
You know what? We have
he's full of knowledge, though.
He is very full of knowledge, but I have to turn the soundboard significantly higher when he's in the show. And he actually is sitting in the office next to us, scowling.
I've accused him several times of being a low talker, and to no avail. No progress.
I'm pretty sure you can't fix being a low talker.
I don't know. He just kind of comes in. He flies under the radar. He's nice and quiet. And then all of a sudden, he just
project yourself.
He slams some knowledge on you.
All right. I love how we're on the Star Fantasy League show. We haven't turned this into a fantasy show. We've turned this into just bashing our own family members. That's smart, right?
He's no family to me.
Oh, my. Whoa. Shots fired right out of the gate.
Seriously.
All right, we got a little bit of a format show to the chains today. We got nothing to break down. We got nothing to talk about today, right?
I got something to break down for you.
Oh, you do?
Well, I'm sure we'll be talking about it later on, but I want to break down the team that actually the series that you can break down with the team that you can't break down because they are so bad.
My brain is broken down.
I know. I'm looking at Zach. I know where he's going with it.
It's the Oklahoma City Thunder.
So you broke down the unbreakable team that
you can sum up the Oklahoma City Thunder with a few good sentences.
Bad?
Yeah. What? Kevin Durant? Is that the entire sentence right there?
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about it in John Alt's mailbag. For those of you who are listening to the Star Fantasy League show for the first time, we're jam-packed. We don't just talk about fantasy on this show. We got something called John Alt's mailbag. That's where we take your listener questions. Tweet at us at SFL Show. You'll get your questions on the air. We'll read anything. We have absolutely no shame. Send us your questions.
And thanks to the Rangers for assassinating Carey Price.
Yeah, that's depressing.
Yeah, well, it is depressing because now we have to watch this team just roll over Montreal, and now we just don't.
Do you think? I mean, we're probably going to talk about that too.
We're definitely going to bring that up as well in John Alt's mailbag. We talk about basically the biggest storylines happening in sports. Like I said, not just fantasy, but we are the Star Fantasy League show. We all about StarFantasyLeagues.com, daily fantasy sports. We talk about every sport. We break down lineups. We break down everything, projections, players, all that good stuff. And on the show today, we're opening up with MLB lineup breakdown. And then at the end of the show, we're also going to break down tomorrow's slate of games, game by game. So you have a different way to approach it for today as well as for tomorrow.
We're just driving headlong into baseball season, and we're a quarter of the way through, and I think it's time to shape it up for the people.
And we're driving headlong for your drive home.
Yeah.
Headlong, drive home.
This stuff is really complicated, but we're going to do our best to simplify it for everybody.
Yeah, that's why we're here on the Star Fantasy League show. We're here to break it down. You see all this information for baseball especially, and there's like 80,000 different numbers to look at. We're here to decipher those for you and make sure that it makes sense in our brains. Right?
It'll make sense.
Our brains are all fried already. You know what? Should we just get to it?
There's nothing like the transition from NBA and NHL to baseball.
Speaking of that, let's just break it down. I think it's time.
I'm fine.
All right, let's go. MLB lineup breakdown time.
Let's do this. Time for your Star Fantasy League's MLB Fantasy Lineup Breakdown.
All right, you heard the man in the cage. It is time for our first MLB lineup breakdown in drive time I'm pretty excited. You guys excited?
I'm excited because I finally get to turn the tables and bash you, Donald.
Oh, come on.
It is time for some bashing.
Have you guys started the record yet?
No, we are waiting for the first actual lineup breakdown because that means we both have to put teams into the free roll on StarFantasyLeagues.com.
And we hold each other accountable.
This is very true. We preach accountability on the Star Fantasy League show because when the week goes along, we'll actually tell you how our picks did. We always do plays of the day, value plays. We'll actually tell you how we did.
I'm not going to be able to mentor Nick as I was,
with basketball.
Actually, I didn't really do it successfully in basketball since we didn't overcome you, Donald.
Yeah, I did pretty well. I'm not going to lie. I had a good season for basketball.
You won the playoff contest.
Yeah, I won the regular season and the playoffs. All right, let's get straight to baseball though. It's a savage beast. I got to give the spiel for those of you who are listening for the first time. You get a $100,000 salary cap on StarFantasyLeagues.com. Got to pick a catcher, first, second, third base, shortstop, 3 outfielders, 1 utility. That's any infielder. Any positional player you want. 2 starting pitchers, 1 reliever, and a wild card pitcher spot. That's a reliever or a starter.
Yeah, we've gone back and forth on this, and I think that we've kind of come to the conclusion that if you can find 3 solid starting pitchers, that's the way that you want to go. But there are some nights where I found that you just don't like them all, and it might be better to go with a second reliever. So it's up to you.
Yeah, there were a lot of value guys to talk about for pitchers. I'm actually going to start there. I forgot my favorite part of the spiel. Get the most points, win the most money. You cut me off, Nick.
I'm sorry, my bad.
Yeah, I think it's more important to look at those higher end guys when it's a shorter slate. Usually you can find some guys, especially when you're looking to put in 3 starting pitchers, some reasonable guys, reasonable value.
All right, well,
but sometimes you can go negative. That's what you got to be wary of.
Yeah.
If you put in a guy that just has a bad outing, you could get negative points and it could really hurt your lineup.
That is true. I've had it happen with I put in Kershaw. Everyone was always so high on Kershaw. It destroyed me. That ruins your night.
Well, usually you would think that would be reliable.
Correct. All right, I'm going to start off with the pitchers because I think that's where we get the most interesting discussion. So I'll start there. My big one was Masahiro Tanaka, my play of the day at pitcher. He is $21,431 on StarFantasyLeagues.com, but I couldn't see a way not to fit either him or Cueto into my lineup.
Yeah, I mean, he's the second most expensive pitcher on the site, and that's really what's driving me away is because I feel like there's so many other guys out there tonight. You can find so much value, and if you're really going to go high-low, you got to fit in some guys that, I don't know, they might be a little questionable. He's about as close to a sure thing right now as it gets, so you can't really go wrong there. It's just you're going to be sacrificing a lot when you put him in.
Yeah, the Cubs strike out at a very high rate. They're really poor against righties. I just thought it was one of those things. It's just a no-brainer.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad move at all. I think there's some lower guys that you could definitely look at today, and some lower guys that are actually, studs that we've seen in years past, maybe haven't had a good start so far this year, but that you'll see come around in favorable matchups and so on.
Yeah, actually, the reason I got into Tanaka was because I put in the following 2 pitchers. I used my wild card spot for a starter because they were cheap. Drew Pomeranz for Oakland and Anthony DeSclafani. I think that's his name.
Yeah, I think you got it right that time.
DeSclafani, one of those. They're 61.32 and 47.35. It combined less than 11,000. That's pretty good right there, right?
Yeah, Pomeranz had a really nice outing last time. DeSclafani, I like him a little bit more just because he gets to be at home and he's against a weaker lineup in the Phillies. With Pomeranz, this is his first start on the road, so we'll see how he does. We'll see how he handles it. He does have the benefit of the second best offense in the majors in terms of runs scored, so he'll probably get some run support. I think you're good either way on that.
Wins are big. Even if he has a decent outing and puts up a 1.5 points for a win, that's better than a losing effort.
Yeah, you're obviously happy when you get the win. So obviously on the site, the win doesn't come until the end of the game, and you get those extra points to pop up your lineup, maybe pop up a few places in your tournaments.
Make you feel a little good about yourself. And my relief pitcher is Kenley Jansen, Los Angeles Dodgers. I actually liked Beckett, but I couldn't figure out a way to get him in my lineup.
He's been very solid this year. He really has. And it's kind of tough with a reliever. I mean, obviously, he's only like a couple thousand, 2,000.
Yeah, I mean, he's 1880. You want to that's what they're around the 2,000-ish area.
I mean, we don't make you pay for your closers on this site. So
nope, because they very rarely get you points. You got to kind of go for the teams that you think are going to win and have safe situations.
Yep. Yeah, it's hard to pick the right closer and know that situation's actually going to come up. But sometimes you can get a little foresight on those games and think that there might end up being a close game. It's a close line, potentially low scoring. You got the home team, things like that. You can look at it.
All right, from an offensive standpoint, those are all my pitchers. I think I went a little high-low, which I usually don't do, but it was an interesting day.
That evened out, though.
Yeah, I went heavy on stacks for the day. My first big stack was San Francisco. I started with catcher Buster Posey. My second baseman ended up being my last spot I had to fill. and I went with Brandon Hicks. Make sure that he ends up playing today. I'm assuming he will, but if he doesn't, obviously you have a few hours from now. Lineups don't lock until 7 o'clock, but this game is actually later, so you'll have some time. We have late swap on StarFantasyLeagues.com. You'll have time to actually go in there and swap him out for another player if it comes out that he's not in the starting lineup.
What was his price tag on Hicks?
Hicks is currently at $53.10, which is a pretty good way to save some money.
That's a pretty low number. I mean, you're going to have to fit some of those guys in if you have Tanaka in tonight. So
yeah, and that wasn't the end. I went full stack on San Francisco because I'm not a big fan of Morales in Colorado, and it's in Colorado, so. Yeah, he's not very good versus righties, so I went on a big righty stack. I also ended up getting Michael Morse in there, as well as the Panda.
Yeah, I love Michael Morse. I think he's been phenomenal for San Francisco. And the Panda's actually he's steadily increasing his batting average.
Good.
I think over the last month, he's gone from like 160 up to 220. That's really
and climbing. He's got I think he had 3 home runs in the past week. He's
on a heck of a streak
well.
right now, so good. I like that pick a lot.
And also, I went with I rarely go double stack, but I actually managed to do it. Toronto going against Felix Doubront. Nick, you and I know as Boston fans, not a good player.
Doubront has just been
not good.
He's been terrible this year.
Yeah, correct.
And Boston needs to find another pitcher. They really do.
And it's hard to avoid these Toronto right-handers. There's
really
so much power in that lineup. Despite having some pitching struggles that have cost them some games definitely this year, those bats have been solid throughout the entire year.
And the funny thing is, Doubront, as bad as he has been, is horrible against lefties. He's a lefty that's horrible against lefties.
Yeah, and I wouldn't overlook that because that actually is the case with some of those pitchers. And a lot of the stats that you look at, you're going to want to look at the stats over the last few years, last 2 years even, and just see where these pitchers are at, because sometimes that ends up being the case, that righty on righty or lefty on lefty, they just get crushed.
Yeah, I actually went, like I said, full stack. Edwin Encarnacion. I went with Jose Reyes. I went with Bautista, and I went with Melky. That's the 1 through 4 order for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, I mean, that's really where you want to focus, especially in this matchup. Even if you go 1 through 5 or 6 in this matchup. All of those guys, I really think you're probably going to see at least one go over the monster tonight, if not 2.
Yeah, stacking, you can only put in 4 total players from one team, but when we say 1 through 6, we don't literally mean 1 through 6. We mean 4 out of those top 6. That's where you're getting the most runs, the most RBIs, the most potential for home runs.
The heart of the lineup.
That is very true, the heart of the lineup. And my last player, Jason Gringer, on yesterday's show said his play of the day on offense, Matt Holliday, had a ton of home runs against this pitcher. Bronson, I don't know what's going on when I left the Boston Red Sox. Arroyo.
Yeah,
I think everybody's got a lot of home runs against Bronson Arroyo.
Yeah, he has done okay the past couple of games, but still, over the course of the season, it has not been pretty for Bronson.
That is true. I think I did pretty good with my first lineup.
I think you did solid. It's just a matter of whether those value pitchers come through.
This is very true. All right, coming up after the break, it's time for Jonald's Mailbag. I'm excited. Everybody else excited?
Favorite time of the day.
That is true. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
The Star Fantasy League show. Information is key to being a successful fantasy team owner, and the guys have all the updated info you need right now. Okay, fantasy sports fans.
There's a letter in your mailbox.
Time to dig into Jonald's mailbag for your questions and comments.
Read the mail, read the mail, read the mail.
Jump in the game. Send your questions and comments to the Star Fantasy League's team by tweeting at SFL Show.
That is right. All you have to do is tweet us at SFL Show if you want to be part of the journey to Jonald's mailbag.
We will answer your questions. Sometimes.
Or if your questions are really bad, we'll just make fun of you and read your question.
We'll call you out on the air, but you'll at least get some sort of acknowledgement.
That is actually true. If you just want to be a troll and send us dumb comments and dumb questions, we're the type of show that we will read it and then we will make fun of you.
We will rip right into you.
So if you're one of those trolls that just likes to have your voices
and if
heard,
you're on the show and you come up with something really stupid and
we will
and
stare at you. We'll just stare at you.
If you say something, then I just get made fun. Oh wait, I mean you just get ripped on.
So then you're a big troll.
I guess so. I'm a huge troll.
He's a teddy bear, not a troll. Don't worry, Nick.
He's a
Well, I'm glad
bear.
that you masked it for the people because I have a face for radio. So
beautiful. All right, we need to jump straight into Jonald's mailbag. There's a lot to talk about today. Things that you, off the top of the show, decided to just let the cat out of the bag.
Well, I've got a lot to say.
Oh.
I acted like I didn't, but I did.
Do you want to just go? I won't even read the questions. Just speak for 13 minutes. Go ahead.
Sure, yeah.
No,
You're
please
Stanley spouting.
Yeah, really. King Stanley.
The rant.
All right, we got to get right into it. Karen C. writes, San Antonio manhandled the Thunder in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Are the Thunder in real trouble without Serge Ibaka?
I don't think that has anything to do... Well, okay.
Oh, come on.
Hang on, though. I was going to say something similar.
Let me step back a little bit. I think that is the perfect excuse. Because yes, Serge Ibaka is somebody that can make this series closer, and he can help stop San Antonio from getting in the paint, which they absolutely crushed in last night.
Dominated in the paint.
But I watched multiple possessions, and I counted passes. And you know what? I didn't need to do a lot of counting for Oklahoma City. Because the amount of times, first of all, I believe Russell Westbrook ended up taking more shots than Kevin Durant.
ISO left, ISO right, ISO left.
By two.
But at one point, it was at like 5. And he would come down. I watched one possession where he came down, tried to charge up to the hoop, didn't see a layup, ran back to the outside with the ball, and popped a 3. And that was the possession. And it was a brick.
This is what the Thunder have done all season long. So saying that Serge Ibaka he was going to play some magical role that was going to win them the series, that he was the X factor, that's just not true.
Well, but he actually was really solid against the Spurs in the regular season. That
absolutely
helps.
That's fine. But at the same time, you know who was going to win the series for the Thunder regardless of if he was in or out. It's going to be Kevin Durant or Russell Westbrook. And unfortunately, I just don't see that happening because the Spurs are just a well-oiled machine.
I was coming back from Philadelphia. I got back late last night with like 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And I was sitting up in bed with my girlfriend just watching the end of the game.
Oh, boy.
There's nothing, I know. There's not going to be anything cool or fun about that, so don't think so. And I said, watch this. And we watched the play. Westbrook came down and jacked one up. And she was like, well, what about Durant? Like, why can't they win this series with Durant? And I said, just watch what San Antonio does. San Antonio comes down. I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4 passes. 5th pass, Ginobili, wide open, hits the 3.
Yep.
And they're a team. They are a team through and through, off the bench, and they have a coach that is going to run circles around Scott Brooks.
Yep.
Well, it doesn't hurt that they have good passing big men. In this game, Boris Diaw off the bench had 3 assists. That's big. He played a lot of good minutes. He's a big that was playing center for most of that second half. He was in there. And, I want to talk about this lineup for 1 second because this makes absolutely no sense. Scotty Brooks should be fired on the spot for playing this lineup. Listen, these are the 5 on the floor. Butler, Fisher, Jackson, Westbrook, and Durant. Durant played the 5 for 2 different stretches, and that team got killed with that lineup.
I don't understand why you would do that. You have a couple other guys on the bench that are big, and they are supposed to be in the game down low.
Well,
you have an injury. Deal with it. Play the players that are supposed to be playing at the 5 spot. Play Kendrick Perkins. Play Collison. Play Steven Adams. Play them all.
It's an era where the scoring point guard is so much more prevalent now. We saw it really hit a boom with Derrick Rose when Derrick Rose came into the league. But he was still a guy that averaged 6 or 7 assists. Russell Westbrook needs the ball in his hands to be successful. And to be honest, I don't know if he didn't change the way that he paces the game, the way that he paces himself, whether he could be successful anywhere.
When it comes to Russell Westbrook, I like to look at his efficiency numbers rather than his actual scoring numbers. Because he can score a ton of points, but if the team's still losing, that says a lot about how he plays the game. His efficiency is horrible.
He runs up the court. He just runs up the court, takes shots, makes a lot of them, and then misses a bunch.
And two stats that you can look at from last night. 28 assists for the Spurs team as a whole. 19 assists for Oklahoma City as a whole. And 16 turnovers for Oklahoma City versus 9 for the Spurs. That is your game. That's it.
Yeah, that's the whole game.
And there was one, towards the end of the game, Oklahoma City's trying to close the gap. Westbrook drives into the lane and tries to throw it behind him to Durant, and it gets picked off by Kawhi Leonard, and he goes in for an easy layup.
So I just think what you said at the beginning of this segment about how people are going to use the Ibaka absence as an excuse, I think that is the story here. It's not an excuse. San Antonio was a better team coming into this. They know how to play the game.
The worst thing for this team will be Oklahoma City as an organization using this as an excuse and making no changes.
You won't grow. Yeah, you won't grow from that. But I have to commend the Spurs. They gave up. I think they had a big 16-point lead. They gave it all back. Oklahoma City, I think, had like a 3 or 4 point lead at best. But then they just blew them out from there.
I root for Kevin Durant. I love Kevin Durant.
Love him.
Before it even started last night, we were driving in the car, and I was just thinking, I can't even see this series being that great.
It should be 5.
I think I know who is going to win, and
could be 4.
I'm sure OKC could win a game or two.
Yeah.
But that's it. I don't think this is going more than 6.
I will say I had Miami, San Antonio from the beginning. I really still feel comfortable about that.
I think the Clippers would have been a much better.
Much better.
Much better.
All right, on that note, moving on. Cody D writes, Kevin Love has basically forced his way off the Minnesota Timberwolves, stating that he will opt out of the last year of his contract. Which team has the best shot at landing and, better yet, keeping the all-star forward?
I think you know what I want to say.
You want to say
the Boston
Celtics.
Who have the ammunition to pull this thing off.
I have the most unpopular opinion of all time. My favorite day of the NBA season, I said this to you, Zach, earlier, is Ping Pong Ball Day, which is the NBA Draft Lottery. I love the hype of it. I love the people who show up to represent their teams and all these stupid
Rig Pong Ball?
No,
Is that what you said?
What?
Rig Pong Ball?
No.
The weighted balls?
The superstition behind the certain people they send, Cleveland sends the owner's kid. Come on, they won twice with him. That was a little weird. They're not sending him this year.
They're not any better off for it either.
Then they hired Mike Brown again.
Yeah. They should have sent him after they fired him. Be like, go ahead, represent us at the lottery, and then fire him on the air.
I mean, this is something I keep an eye on, especially when you're looking at a very top-heavy draft. And there's a lot of talent out there for this draft.
So we're saying who has the best chance to land him, not where would be the best fit for him, right?
Oh, we don't care about the best fit. I want to know who do you think's getting
Who's going to get Jabari Parker?
No, we don't care about that. No, Love. Kevin Love.
Loverboy.
Oh. Well, because, I'm talking about we're talking about
that is
Love.
the question, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I got into the draft.
Here's my whole thing. It does depend on tonight. Whoever gets a top 3 pick, if they're one of the teams that's in this conversation, if a Phoenix gets a top 3 pick, if a Boston gets a top 3 pick, actually they're the only 2 teams realistically who have a shot at it. If one of those 2 teams gets a top 3 pick, I think they're going to get Kevin Love. I mean, they have the pieces.
See, the thing of it is you're always trying to find the quickest way to improve when it comes to the draft. And if you can get a guy that's worth 26 and 10 every single night,
it's still very young.
Yeah, why would you not just get? Yeah, well, this is a guarantee. Here, take the pick.
Well, that's why I think Boston has the most to offer because they can. If you want a
who do you think they would give away?
If you want a pseudo superstar back, you can give him either Jeff Green or Jared Sullinger because both those guys have the potential to be your top guy or your second best guy, and you also have that top 3 pick who could end up being your guy.
I don't think Jeff Green has any chance of being a top guy.
But
at all.
Paired with the right guy, he could be your second best scorer.
Okay.
So I'm saying, beside Rondo, he was terrible, but whatever.
I get why you would trade him away. You want to get value for him if he's definitely
gone.
not coming back.
He said he is gone.
I just don't know. How can Minnesota actually get better through one of these trades?
When does Minnesota get better?
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
They're not a destination.
They're not a destination. It's terrible. I mean, it's a flaw right now.
Yeah.
It's a flaw in the system, but what can you do? That nobody wants to go there. Nobody can get paid enough to continue playing there once they do go there. It's a miserable organization.
But I agree with you there.
He wants to go.
I agree with you.
He wants to go.
So if you trade Kevin Love, you get a top pick in the draft, and you get maybe 1 or 2 other players.
Depend. You might just
Shouldn't you be better? Shouldn't you get better?
Good luck with the GMs they've had too.
So,
it just hasn't gone well.
I don't know. Why not keep it? Take somebody in the draft.
Bring back Flip. Bring back Flip, baby.
They said he might coach the team, which is just amazing.
And one more thing about trades. If you talk about the Bills made the Bills traded a 6th round pick for Mike Williams. Could you get that type of quality of a player in the 6th round? No, and that's why you want to making these sure thing trades is a great way to go.
Yeah, I think you're right.
All right, that's a good point to move on. We're going to talk about Kevin Love. This whole story is going to unfold. We'll see.
Go
some more
Bills,
stuff.
Rochester.
Oh my God, you are the worst. All right, Dylan M. Bryce, last question of the day. Montreal Canadiens started AHL goalie. Wow, I can't speak. Dustin Kokarski on Monday night and promptly fell behind in the series 2-0. Do you see the Rangers letting this series slip away, going up home 2-0?
Do I see the Rangers letting it slip away?
Yeah.
No, not at all. Henrik Lundqvist.
Because hold on. After game 1, I asked you specifically. I said, "Do you see Montreal having a chance?" You go, "Of course, they're really good."
They have a chance. But down 2-0. I thought they had a chance to win last game. If they won last game, now they have a chance to win moving forward. They don't have.
But
Henrik Lundqvist is playing out of his mind.
They are one of the ultimate teams that has proven that they can win away. Also, like the Kings. The Kings have done that as well.
Sure, but Henrik is playing out of his mind.
He stopped.
I know.
He shouldn't have even let that goal in. It was a lucky bounce. Pacioretty didn't even do anything to score that goal.
40. Oh my God! Hold on. He's heating up.
I'm serious. It drives me nuts.
He's got that crazy look in his eye.
Teddy Bear 2 got his first NHL question of the day, and immediately you saw his face heat up. He got really excited. You're turning beet red right now.
Giggity. I'm just going.
All right, can you make any kind of case for Montreal turning around? What do they have to do? Obviously, can they kick like Henrik Lundqvist like outside the arena?
Yeah.
Like, will that help?
Yeah, they could slide into him just like Chris Kreider did.
Looking back on that Boston series, first of all, I don't think the Rangers are Boston, but Carey Price made so many key saves in that series that if you actually look back on it, regardless of whether they clearly outplayed them, Boston had the opportunities to win, and he shut them down. I just don't think that you can't rely on that anymore.
I'm pretty sure Lundqvist had 40 saves last night.
Yeah, 40 or 41. Yep.
So, I mean, what more can you do?
It's ruined this series.
What more can you do? What they have to do is they have to get traffic in front, they have to get in his face, and they have to make sure that he can't see anything that's coming towards them. If they can do that, sure, they have a chance. They need to keep taking shots from the point. But the other problem there is that the Rangers are one of the best shot-blocking teams in the league, let alone remaining in the playoffs.
They've got to start eliminating the easy scoring chances, and it's going to be hard to do.
It might be hard to do, but like you said, it's hockey. You have to stay in it. I mean, you can't just go, you know what, we're down. Yeah, we're down 2-0. You can't just lay down.
They still have a chance, but I just don't see it.
And the NBA teams can lay down. It happens all the time. All right, coming after the break, it's time to go over value plays and all that good stuff for Wednesday on StarFantasyLeagues.com. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League Show on 105.5 The Team.
Play fantasy sports for cash prizes. Join the top daily and weekly fantasy leagues in the country at StarFantasyLeagues.com. Now, back to the Star Fantasy League Show with Donald, Teddy Bear 2, and the Deucey Moose. Only on the Team.
That is right. We're back with Donald, the Deucey Moose, and Teddy Bear 2. See, I gave you number 2.
I don't think people know what you're talking about.
Those are words. No, they're actually our nicknames. I'm the Jonald. Zach is the Deucey Moose for some weird reason.
You never even call me that.
It's a nickname you accidentally gave yourself 8 months ago.
And you decided you were going to roll with it for a short period of time.
Yeah, and it keeps going.
I still don't know the origin of mine.
Teddy Bear 2?
No, because...
That was me.
Yeah, Zach said that.
Zach just shouted it out.
Well, because Seth was the original teddy bear, and then...
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I never even remembered that. Never would have remembered that. I have no idea. All right, you know what we have to do?
Rotund.
Wow. All right. Let's get straight into it. This is probably my favorite part of the day. We're going to break down everything MLB for Wednesday on StarFantasyLeagues.com.
There's a ton of games.
Not only do we break down the current day, but we give you a preview for tomorrow.
Tomorrow's going to be fun, too. This is going to be a really nice day.
Okay, yeah. The first thing I'm going to look at today is there's 11 games. We talk about pitcher-friendly, hitter-friendly parks. For some reason, almost all these games are in pitcher-friendly situations, which is very rare because normally you look at a couple places, you're like, oh, that's a little bandbox like New York or Boston or
Colorado.
Well, okay, I don't even need to mention Colorado. Colorado is the house.
Yeah, the ultimate.
It's like outer space over there. That ball just keeps flying.
Yeah, if you've ever been to Colorado, the air is thin and the baseballs hit you if you're just like walking around.
Or if you've ever been to outer space, then you'd know.
This is very true.
I have my dreams.
All right, so since there are only a few places that are hitter-friendly situations, we're going to talk about them because they have the highest over-unders of the day, so we're going to go at them. Yet again, Toronto-Boston has a high over-under. When it's both Tuesday and Wednesday, there's just going to be a lot of home runs, a lot of runs, just not very good pitching in those matchups.
Well, I got to say, though, I'm actually surprised at Drew Hutchison. He's actually done pretty well this season. His record wouldn't tell you so, but him and Burley, they've actually carried this rotation.
You know what the funny thing is? That's one of the stats that I almost always throw away right off the bat.
Mark Burley?
No. No. The win-loss record, you want to check a team's run support, not their win-loss record, because a guy could have like 6 losses in like 2-1 games, 1-0 games. If they've pitched well, like he has, 3.64 ERA, 9 strikeouts per 9 innings, and he's doing pretty well.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, it was surprising to look at that. I was actually kind of looking forward to taking a few Boston hitters, but I wouldn't be surprised if they shut the Sox down tomorrow.
Yep, that's why if you're looking at anybody from that game, there's a reason the over-under is 9 in this game. It's because a certain guy who doesn't put hair gel anymore.
Boo.
Yeah, Clay Buchholz doesn't have messy hair because he's probably not putting pine tar in it.
I just don't understand how you go from doing what he did last year to this.
It sounds like this is going to be the rant of a Red Sox fan.
Do you want me to go?
No,
I can go.
We don't need a rant of a Red Sox fan, but I'd like to point out, normally righties are bad against lefties. Clay Buchholz is a prize. He is bad against lefties and righties.
He's bad against everybody.
He's just bad in general.
Yep.
None of his stats are redeeming except for his 385 BA BIP, which means that's going to probably regress a little bit. He's getting a little bit unlucky, but he's also pitched like crap.
Yeah, I mean,
sounds like a stack to me.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at that. There's 3 switch hitters I'm looking at: Melky Cabrera, Deandre Navarro, and Jose Reyes. And then I'm expecting Adam Lind to start. So if he starts, he has great numbers against Buchholz. So put him in. He's only 6,500, so that's great value.
Yeah, Adam Lind was definitely a guy I'm targeting, but it's really hard not to love. Like we said before, the 1 through 6 of Toronto, it's like deja vu. We're just talking about it again.
Mm-hmm. Navarro's a pretty good play for tonight too. He could roll right into tomorrow in this series.
Sure could.
Yeah, just. Basically, we're like a broken record. We like Toronto stack.
Boston just has to figure out something different here. They really have to right the ship in their starting rotation because it's not going to fly. This isn't going to fly.
Yep. All right, the other matchup we need to talk about is San Francisco and Colorado. We haven't talked about any pitchers we've really liked yet. Drew Hutchinson maybe, but I honestly wouldn't touch him. Yeah. All right, the other one, San Francisco, Colorado. Obviously, this game is in Colorado. Kane has been bad this year.
Is he just old?
Who, Kane?
What? The mighty fall from grace of Matt Cain.
No, I mean, he was good against Colorado at home in San Francisco for obvious reasons.
Yep.
But on the road, they put up, I think, 10 or 12 runs.
Yeah,
Bad.
not good.
Very
Colorado
bad.
averages a ton of runs at home. They're the best team against righties this season. That's not a good sign for Matt Cain. I expect this to end very poorly. Cain's really bad against righties. That's why you pretty much need to stack Colorado.
Well, this is a
righties.
good look at a game stack, really. Both of these teams could hit tomorrow. Chasin.
Chassin.
Is that how you say
Julius
it?
Chassin.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, this is the okay on the start.
I think he's making stuff up again.
No, it's Chassin.
Chassin.
No, it's actually Chassin. I'm not kidding.
No way.
It is.
Okay.
All right,
Well,
Julius
either way, this guy is sputtering along. San Francisco, this is a big series for them to hit their offensive stride. Pablo Sandoval has been creeping back up significantly as of late. Has had a good last 10 games.
He's also been actually pretty good against Chassin. 7 for 25, 2 doubles, 1 triple. If you've seen Sandoval, that's hard to get a triple. And 2 home runs and 5 walks. So all of that leads me to believe that he's going to be really good. Not to mention his salary is $44.57 on StarFantasyLeagues.com.
Very, very tempting. Both of these teams are very tempting.
There's only one guy I would stay away from. Carlos Gonzalez.
Yeah, he's awful.
Bad career versus Matt Cain. I don't know why. That doesn't make sense because you would think that it's a perfect matchup for a lefty versus a righty.
Nope.
Doesn't work out. He's got like a sub 100 average.
If you look at Matt Cain, he's very solid versus lefties and bad versus righties. That's a reverse splits. You know what? That's actually a good point to move on to another game. Minnesota and San Diego. Both pitchers are reverse split pitchers in this. Phil Hughes and Tyson Ross. Both good versus lefties and bad versus righties. So if you're looking at anybody to touch in those games, you kind of have to look at righties.
It's such a tough game to look at. I mean, I think the only real option here is the San Diego batters. But a 6.5 over/under. This is something that just really makes you hesitate. I think.
I'm nervous with the whole game.
Yeah.
Phil Hughes has been pitching really well.
Phil Hughes has been pitching really well. He had a tough game a few starts ago. He's really hit his stride. You know that he can throw out a chunker at any time.
Yep.
But there's so many options on the schedule, so many games that are up near the 9 and 10 run mark. I just think you shy away from this game.
It's
as
also
a whole.
at Petco. Petco's a pitcher's park.
Yeah, okay, then let's talk about that. Are you interested in either Phil Hughes or Tyson Ross? Because Tyson Ross has been decent this year. 2.81 ERA, 8 strikeouts per 9, and 59.4% for ground balls, which is something you really want to see, especially in San Diego. If you're putting balls on the ground, that is great. It's a pitcher's ballpark. No balls in the air.
I think Ross is a fine option, but I also
He's
think
expensive.
Yeah, I also think that his performance isn't necessarily indicative of his entire career performance. And there's a lot of guys that are in that 14,000 range, even a little bit lower, that you can look at tomorrow.
I was going to say there's another one that I'm looking at right around that same price.
Okay, then I think I know who you're talking about, and I think I'll try to get him. I would say it's going to be in that Arizona St. Louis game. St. Louis, big favorites. We have to go with Walker, right? You guys love Walker?
He is on fire. He is on fire. He's 7th in the league in strikeouts per 9. He's just awesome. He's great.
And he's another one of those weird guys. He's very solid against lefties, but he's also not terrible against righties, so he's not a reverse split guy. He's just really good.
It's not often you see an over-under this low in Vegas of 7 with a money line this high, with St. Louis favored by that much. I think this is going to be St. Louis could end up putting up some runs, I think. But Waka, this should be dominant.
Yeah, I mean, I would actually kind of stray away from the batters.
I'm not putting in any St. Louis batters. I'm just saying that's the only team that I can see putting up runs in this game.
Yeah, I would agree. Arizona, rough season. Very
rough season. Although their offense has been slowly creeping up. I have a friend, shout out to Derek Montilla, Sports Cave in Arizona. He just live tweets all the games, and they've been putting up a lot of runs recently.
Well, they should be. Goldschmidt's one of the better hitters in the league. And then, I know they lost Trumbo for a while, but they have good hitters.
I'd also like to give a shout out to Jose Bautista, who followed us on Twitter at one point.
Did he really?
He's also following like 80,000 people.
Oh, that doesn't count. Somebody else is handling that. All right, let's go through some more pitchers we like for Wednesday on StarFantasyLeagues.com. A guy I'm looking at, Miami Marlins going up against Philadelphia at home. Nathan Eovaldi, 11,826. He's been solid. All I can say about this season for him is solid. Philadelphia is 26 against righties. That's something I like to look at. If you're looking at splits, make sure the matchup against that side, like a righty or a lefty, make sure the team is not really good against that position, because that's not something you want to see, obviously.
I'm staying away from him.
Okay, why?
He got lit up his last game, and I think that he is. You're going to see that he's going to start regressing a little bit.
Okay, I have some.
Philly's
stats.
not a good offensive team, so you might have a good shot tonight. But I don't know. I don't.
I have some interesting stats
tomorrow night.
Or tomorrow night.
Sorry. Yeah, I have some interesting stats that prove otherwise. 53% ground balls. Again, you want to see a higher percentage for ground balls. That means they're not putting balls in the air. Less potential for home runs. Deep shots, 313 BIP, which means he's getting a little bit lucky. That should come down. So if he's doing well and he has a high BIP, that means he's pitching well.
Yeah, I don't know.
And he's got a high strikeout rate as well. So these are things,
that's what I mean. I just think that I think he's kind of floating on cloud 9 right now, and I think he's going to come back down to earth.
He pitches in a pitcher-friendly ballpark. That's tending to help him. So these are numbers that seem right in the middle there, and I like pitchers like that, especially for cheap.
This is why we play the game.
This is very true. Another guy that's just been really good this season, Irvin Santana, 14,485. I'm a big fan of him against Milwaukee. Anybody else on the Irvin Santana train?
I love Santana, but I like Kyle Loesch tomorrow better.
Do you really?
Yeah, I really do. He's facing the Braves. They have the 4th most strikeouts in the leagues this season.
Yeah, I noticed that they have a very high team strikeout percentage.
And Milwaukee's been able to put up some runs too. I just don't think this is going to be a walk in the park.
Aren't they still the best team in baseball technically? I think their record is the best in the league.
The Tigers.
I think
are the best.
Detroit.
Oh, they are now?
Detroit's
okay,
the
all
best
right.
team in
Well,
baseball,
either way, Milwaukee's still up there. They can play the game. I don't know. I just think
they can play the game.
They can. Thank you, Nick.
As opposed to, say, an Arizona team that is terrible right now, or getting better,
they
obviously.
Can't play the game. That's true.
This is true. All right, we got.
Thanks for the support, fellas.
Yeah, we got.
You're right on my bandwagon.
You recovered kind of reasonably.
Yeah, whatever.
Some pitchers I'd like to talk about from a negative standpoint. Baltimore and Pittsburgh, both pitchers not very good in this game.
I was staying away from this one together. Just all together.
Yeah,
I can't get a good read on it.
Yeah, that's the problem. I couldn't find any hitters I was really all that interested in, because it's all about when days when you find really good stacks you like, you don't want to just wander out and pick some random guy from a game you don't really like.
I got one you could stack on. Oakland to Tampa Bay.
Okay.
We got, who is it, Malone and Bedard. I think this is going to be a righty versus lefty dream. I mean, I think you could pick players on both sides. Josh Donaldson, Nick Punto. You got on the other side Evan Longoria, Will Myers. I think you could pick a lot of players.
And again, we come back to the stat I was talking about a lot today: ground ball percentage. Bedard 30%. That means a lot of balls in the air, and 37% from Malone. Again, those are two of the lower.
Got lucky last time out too.
Those are two of the lower numbers for the night. Those are things you want to target.
Yeah, Bedard is always in play for an implosion. Always.
It has to be.
He has some of the most miserable starts possible.
Can we have implosion percentage for fantasy? That'd be amazing. Just like the stat that just says, I think this pitcher's going to be
Who does the worst right off the bat and just is on the bench within 3 innings?
Steven Strasburg occasionally does that, where he just blows up in the first 3 innings. It's ridiculous.
Clayton Kershaw.
That is, God, no. All right, come out of the
with
break.
his head in his hands.
We're giving you our plays of the day for batter and pitcher on StarFantasyLeagues.com, and you'll see the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
You listening to the Star Fantasy League Show. Contact the StarFantasyLeagues.com guys via Twitter at SFL Show.
We are back on the Star Fantasy League Show, and it is time to give you our plays of the day for Wednesday on StarFantasyLeagues.com. We're giving you a batter. We're giving you a pitcher. Most times we're giving you a value play unless somebody just doesn't do their homework and can't figure one out.
And then we're going to hold each other accountable and subsequently
Eventually.
beat each other.
No,
we don't do that?
This is not things we're
I
doing.
wouldn't want to take on Nick.
Oh.
He's a big man.
Well,
This isn't Capital Punishment Radio?
Brutalize me.
we are accountable. We're starting today on the Star Fantasy League Show. It's a new day. It's the first day of the lineup breakdown for MLB, so we're going head-to-head, Nick, you and I.
Let's do it.
And, Zach, if you want to get on it, you can start too.
I
It's a
think we should do it.
beautifully gray day here in Rochester.
It is
That
wonderful.
might be every day. All right, from the beginning of the show, we said it was nice out, and then it got gray.
Well, there's always a
There it
cloud that is wishing to hover over our fine city.
It's always just waiting in the wings.
All
It's
right,
just
let's-
waiting. It's like,
let's
there's
get-
sun, let's move.
Yeah, really. Let's get to our play. I keep saying value plays today. It's just our top plays and our value plays. Start us off, Nick.
All right, I am going to go with my pitcher as Jared Weaver. I think he has been pitching a lot better than folks have given him credit for. I think he has a great matchup against the Astros. They strike out the second most in the majors. He's at 12,714, so I think he's going to provide a lot of value tomorrow. It might be a roll of the dice, but I think it's going to be great.
Watch out for those Astros.
I don't.
Scrappy
They're
Stros.
starting to
Yeah, I
come around a little
think
bit.
he's going to fan 7 or 8.
All right, who do you got for your batter of the
My
day?
batter of the day is going to be Yoenis Cespedes for Oakland. He's 8,100. I love the matchup against Bedard.
Bedard.
He's a righty going up against a lefty, so I think he's going to be just fine. And then for a value play, also from Oakland, I have Nick Punto. He's 3,500, which is the minimum on StarFantasyLeagues.com. He's the second baseman, also a righty. They love to play him whenever the lefty comes up.
And
Punto.
Yeah.
Nick Punto.
Nicky
Oh, my
Punto.
goodness.
I know it's just because his name was Nick.
I don't even know if I can respond.
You got
to
a
that.
stack. You got a stack of the day, real quick.
Stack of the day, I'll go Oakland. I like Oakland.
Okay,
Nick
beautiful.
Punto hasn't had power since Little League.
Doesn't matter. He'll score.
All right, Zach, who do you got for your pitcher of the day on StarFantasyLeagues.com?
My pitcher of the day is Michael Waka.
Waka waka.
I love seeing, for as legal as our lovely little world of fantasy sports is, I love looking at the Vegas lines. This is a 7-run over-under. He is crushing with 10.27 K per 9 innings. In Arizona, just miserable.
I love it. That's a great
Absolutely
pick.
miserable.
Great pick.
And then I'm going to go with Bautista. I'm going to go with Joey Bats tomorrow against Buchholz. I love his power. I love putting a guy in a favorable matchup in a favorable park that has a ton of power. I think he's going to launch one over the monster tomorrow.
All right, you got a value play for
Value
me?
play is the Panda.
Oh, man.
Who's
You
sitting,
stole
I
the
think,
Panda.
around-
44.57.
Yeah, 44.57. He's been really hitting. And
He has. He's been on fire. He's streaking.
What about a stack? We got a stack for me?
stack tomorrow. Yeah, I was looking at Toronto.
Man, there's lots of stacks.
I love
What is
stack-
wrong with
I
our
love
Sox?
stacking the Blue Jays. Honestly, it seems like
top
one
of
of
the
those
order.
guys from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is going to blast one.
Yeah.
All right, and we got mine last. I'm going with Tulowitzki. I can't believe none of you took him. 12,757 is expensive, but 21.
That's just about the easiest
Hold
one
on.
to take ever.
He's going to have. He's 21 for 63 in his career, 5 doubles, 1 triple, 5 home runs, and 7 walks.
And
That's
I think he's
monster
the most
stats.
expensive batter.
He is.
He's more expensive than most of the pitchers.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Whatever. my pitcher of the day is Nathan Eovaldi, 11,826. Also my value of the day.
I didn't know how you guys didn't take Johnny
Oh,
Cueto
get
today
outta
at 24,000.
here. And also, if you want a value player, go for Drew Stubbs and that entire Colorado stack. Love Colorado.
Good game stack.
Yeah.
Again.
Go, yeah. You can stack whatever you want. I love how you guys just go off on your Drew Stubbs tangent every time one of us says his name.
We love stuff.
He's becoming a mainstay on the Star Fantasy League show.
That is true. We got a lot to talk about on Star Fantasy League show, but it's over.
I got to get my
That's
Drew
that.
Stubbs fathead, baby.
All right. If you want to get $5 free in your account, tweet at SFL Show. It's just $5 free. No strings attached. Just send us
Rochester,
your
come
username.
join us. This is an amazing time.
That's
Join
true.
us.
There's no better time than today to start playing daily fantasy sports, and make sure you're playing on StarFantasyLeagues.com. And if you don't know what the heck Jules is chasing, we'll help you make a better lineup next time. Take it easy, guys.